Here we go, Spurs fans. Tottenham are circling, and this one suddenly feels real. Spurs are in active talks to sign Andy Robertson after the Liverpool left-back privately voiced his frustration over a sharp drop in minutes at Anfield. Once an automatic starter, Robertson has slipped behind Milos Kerkez in Arne Slot's pecking order, and with his contract entering its final 5 months, Tottenham believe the timing is right to strike. The 31-year-old has already admitted publicly that his future is uncertain and that honesty has opened the door. Liverpool's decision to sign Kerkez from Bournemouth last summer changed the landscape completely, with the Hungary international now established as Slot's first-choice left-back. Robertson stayed put despite interest from Atletico Madrid, determined to fight for his place, but the reality has been hard to ignore. Regular minutes are no longer guaranteed, and with a World Cup on the horizon, that matters. Spurs had initially planned to wait until Robertson became a free agent in June, but encouragement from Liverpool has pushed them into moving earlier. According to reports, discussions are already underway with Robertson's representatives and the club, with negotiations described as amicable. Liverpool are open to a January deal, knowing they risked losing him for nothing in the summer, and they have a contingency plan in place, with the option to recall Kostas Tsimikas from Roma. What makes this particularly intriguing is the context on Tottenham's side. Just days ago, Spurs announced the £13 million signing of highly rated teenager Sousa from Santos, hailed by Thomas Frank as one of the brightest left-back talents in world football. On paper, that should have closed the door. In reality, it hasn't. Destiny, Udogi's injury issues, Ben Davies' uncertain future, and the need for immediate reliability have left Tottenham still open to experience, leadership, and proven quality. That is where Robertson fits perfectly. But this move only works if the role is clear. He is not leaving Liverpool to sit on another bench. His decision will hinge on Frank's vision and where Robertson genuinely sits in the hierarchy. For Spurs, this is not about the future, it's about now. Robertson brings elite-level pedigree, title-winning mentality, and an engine that still hasn't burned out. For Robertson, it's about one last major chapter played on his terms. The player himself has not hidden the dilemma. He has spoken openly about wanting to stay, but also about the need to explore options, weighing football against family and long-term security. Slot, for his part, has handled the situation diplomatically, praising Robertson's professionalism and maturity despite reduced involvement. This is no longer speculative noise. Tottenham are pushing, Liverpool are listening, and Robertson is thinking. A deal in January would have felt unthinkable a year ago. Now it feels like a matter of alignment. If Spurs can convince him he will be central rather than supplementary, this could move fast and it would be one of the most quietly significant Premier League transfers of the window. Tottenham need to build on the momentum of their midweek victory with a positive display in the Premier League at Burnley on Saturday afternoon. Spurs saw off Borussia Dortmund 2-0 in the Champions League on Tuesday evening to make it 4 wins at home with 4 clean sheets in the competition to book their spot in the playoff round. A win next week in Frankfurt would see Thomas Frank's side skip that and go straight into the round of 16 as one of the top 8 clubs in the table. First though, the Premier League calls and a trip up the country to Turf Moor to face Scott Parker's Clarets. Burnley sit 19th in the table, but have begun to turn their results around recently with draws against Liverpool and Manchester United. Frank has injuries galore, with Lucas Bergvall set to join those spending a lengthy spell out after the teenager suffered an ankle injury against Dortmund. We asked our Tottenham reporters, Alistair Gold and Ryan Taylor, to name the starting lineup they reckon Frank will select to face Burnley on Saturday. Frank must decide exactly what elements of the Spurs team that faced Dortmund he should take across into this game at Turf Moor. That's because certain parts of it worked well, with the makeshift back three looking good and Died Spence enjoying himself as a left winger. Decisions have to be made though, over how fit Dominic Solanke is after his first start in 8 months, Destiny Udogie with his first one in 7 weeks, and Xavi Simons, who has been playing with a painful and swollen ankle. Frank has new signing Conor Gallagher ready to come back in, as he is not registered for the Champions League yet. And there is also Yves Bissouma, who impressed with his performance against West Ham. Archie Gray played well against Dortmund, but with those other two unable to face Frankfurt, Gray might be wrapped up in cotton wool for this one, with Joao Palhinha close to being ready, but potentially not in time for this match. Mathys Tel could also come back into the team, while Pape Matar Sarr is available after returning from the Africa Cup of Nations, where he was ill as Senegal won the final. News signing Sousa was finally announced on Thursday, and if his international clearance comes in time, then the 19-year-old left-back will be available for selection, although he will not be sharp, with more than a month since the Brazilian season ended. Gold's 11. Vicario, Porro, Romero, Van de Ven, Spence, Gallagher, Bissouma, Odegaard, Xavi, Tell, Solanke. I would love to see Dominic Solanke start, but I'm unsure whether he'll be able to, as Tottenham will be protecting his fitness. Starting twice in a matter of days is probably a step too far for the big striker, and Spurs can't afford to see him suffer any setbacks. One big decision Frank is facing is at the back, as Kevin Danso has not put a foot wrong of late. Using a back three away at Burnley would not be acceptable, but it's a shame you can't really shoehorn Cuti, Romero, Danso and Van de Ven into the same lineup. I expect Romero and Van de Ven to start with Pedro Porro and Jed Spence as fullbacks. Conor Gallagher should also return in midfield, though João Palhinha will start if fit. Archie Gray should start too. Wilson Odegaard, Xavi Simons and Mathys Tell are shoo-ins in attack. Solanke would ideally lead the line, but Randall Kolo Muani is probably more likely. Taylor's 11. Vicario, Porro, Romero, Van de Ven, Spence, Gallagher, Gray, Odegaard, Xavi, Tell, Solanke. Tottenham's January rebuild has officially begun, not with fireworks, but with intent. After weeks of pressure, uncertainty, and speculation surrounding Thomas Frank's future, Spurs have quietly confirmed their second signing of the transfer window. Brazilian teenager Sousa has arrived from Santos, following Conor Gallagher through the door at N17, as Tottenham look to stabilise a season that has threatened to spiral. At just 19 years old, Sousa isn't a headline grabber, but make no mistake, this is a move with both short-term purpose and long-term vision. Tottenham have confirmed their second signing of the January transfer window after landing Santos left-back Sousa. The young Brazilian, who is just 19 years of age, has followed England international midfielder Conor Gallagher through the door in N17. Spurs initially saw a bid worth in the region of £8 million, rejected by the South American club, before returning with a revised offer that was successful. Subject to international clearance, Sousa joins with a view to immediately being a part of Thomas Frank's first team. He will provide competition, cover and support for the likes of Destiny Udogie, DJ Spence and Ben Davies, whose contract expires at the end of June. Sousa is viewed as a prospect with great potential, but there's belief he already has what it takes to play a part under Frank, as Tottenham strive to get their campaign back on track. The fullback joined Santos' youth setup back in 2016, and he comes from a futsal background. He is a Brazil under-17 international and is also represented by world-renowned agent Giuliano Bertolucci, who helped see the deal with Tottenham over the line. Sousa made 38 senior appearances for Santos, where he played alongside national icon Neymar. Last season, Santos only avoided relegation by 4 points, despite finishing up in 12th position. He made 29 appearances for Santos last season, scoring once and providing 2 assists. While it wasn't considered a priority signing, Spurs were open to strengthening Frank's options at left-back, as it's become a problem position this season. Udogie has been absent since early December, when he picked up a hamstring injury during the dramatic 2-2 draw at Newcastle. Upon completion, Spurs head coach Frank said, "I'm really pleased to add Sousa to our squad. He is a talented, promising young fullback who is forward-thinking and technically very good. I'm looking forward to working with him and helping developing that potential, as we believe we have bought one of the brightest left-back talents in the world who can give us something now, but also for the future." Sousa said, "It's an incredible feeling to join a really big club in Spurs. I grew up watching the Premier League, so this is a childhood dream for me and I can't wait to get going. This is a big step in my development. The Premier League is very different to what I'm used to in Brazil, and so I'm really looking forward to this challenge and being part of the squad." Spence has filled in his absence, while veteran Davies also recently earned starts against Sunderland and Aston Villa in the FA Cup. The Welshman does not appear likely to stay beyond the end of the season and has been strongly linked with a move to Nice in France. Tottenham are not expected to be done in the market there either, A forward is still very much on their agenda, even though their options remain limited due to the difficult nature of the January window. RB Leipzig do not want to sell Yan Diomande, while Manchester City's Savinho has been ruled out until February due to injury. Other targets such as Magnus Akliush will not come cheap, especially during mid-season. But Tottenham are continuing to work on improving Frank's squad, and funds are believed to be available. Sousa won't be expected to save Tottenham's season, and that's exactly the point. This is a calculated signing. Depth for a problem position, energy for a tired squad, and a long-term investment that fits Thomas Frank's preference for athletic, aggressive fullbacks. With Destiny Udogie injured, Ben Davies nearing the end of his Spurs chapter, and Djed Spence stretched across multiple roles, Sousa arrives with a clear pathway. More importantly, this deal signals that Tottenham are still backing their head coach, at least for now. Funds are available, work is ongoing, and a forward remains the priority before the window shuts. Whether Sousa becomes a future star or a reliable squad piece will take time. But his arrival confirms one thing: Spurs are no longer standing still.